Are you like Adam? He's frustrated that his business isn't growing even though he feels like he's doing everything right. He's creating content like everyone told him to, but nobody's watching it. He's trying to think bigger and create $100 million offers, but right now he'd feel lucky if he even made a single sale. And he's doing everything he can to get his mindset right. He's dialed in his morning routine, taking ice showers, and binge watching videos trying to dopamine detox and monk mode his way into becoming a 1% man who actually gets what he wants. But nothing is working. And he's starting to question whether he should even carry on or just give up on his dreams and go back to the 9 to 5. But then one day, when things feel like they just couldn't get any more hopeless, he hears a voice in the back of his head. Success leaves clues, young Adam. Learn from the past to build a better future. And just like that, his eyes were open to all of the massive mistakes he'd been making for years that were causing his business to stay stuck, small, and unable to get to the next level. And instantly he had clarity on exactly what he needed to do, and his business and his life were changed forever. But you might not have had this breakthrough yet. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to pull off 5 of the most powerful business growth strategies by fixing and avoiding the most common mistakes that nearly every business makes. And I know these mistakes well, because I'm Adam. And over the past 10 plus years in business, I've made every single one of these mistakes that I'm about to share with you. And I wasn't alone, because so have my clients, my students, and most of the businesses that I take a look at every single day. And it doesn't matter whether they were brand new solopreneurs or big billion-dollar empires. Nobody is immune. So let's get started with one of the most common and painful mistakes of all, random acts of marketing. One of the biggest mistakes that most business owners, entrepreneurs, and marketers make isn't doing too little, it's doing too much. But doing that too much in too many of the wrong places, which results in doing too little of what actually works, which sounds super confusing now that I say it out loud, so let me break it down for you. In business, you have 3 resources that you can use and invest in order to achieve a desired result. These resources are time, money, and energy. I'm gonna call these your power bars. Spend and invest your power bars well and your business will grow, but waste them on ineffective marketing strategies and you're far more likely to end up like young Adam was at the beginning of his business journey. And that's not a lot of fun, but that's what most businesses do. And this approach leads to what I call random acts of marketing. Making stuff, posting it, and doing things just for the sake of it with no clear goal, intention, or strategy behind it. So let's fix that now. In every business, there's a segment of the market, a group or collection of people that are going to love you and love what you do and want to tell everyone they know about just how great you are. And you are pretty great. Those people are your ideal customers, your ideal target market, and it's your job, your goal to get in front of as many of them as possible. But here's the thing, despite what you may have heard about how your business needs to be everywhere, all the time, doing all the things in order to reach the most amount of people possible, none of that is true. In reality, your ideal target market and that group of people that you actually want to serve are likely focused in 1, maybe 2 different places, which means that all you need to do is identify where those 1 or 2 different places are and then go there, ignoring everything else. For your audience, maybe it's Facebook, or maybe it's YouTube, maybe it's Instagram. Maybe it's Twitter, but it's unlikely to be all of them. And when you stop investing your power bars in the places where none of your ideal target market is present and active, it frees up valuable time, money, and energy for you to allocate to better locations that are going to provide a bigger bang for your marketing buck. This is why in marketing, we're always talking about segmenting a market, which is essentially carving up your market into different groups with similar needs or characteristics or traits. The trick here though is that this is often where so many businesses swing way too far in the other direction by over-segmenting and over-targeting their market. So let's make sure that doesn't happen to you now. To really understand this whole targeting versus over-targeting, segmenting versus over-segmenting thing, we need to take a look at 2 different charts. Chart 1 is something called a TAM, and it stands for Total Addressable Market, and it represents 100% of your total possible market. So if you sold health services aimed at women in the United States between the ages of 30 and 34, your TAM would be 11.43 million people. Or for something super specific, let's say you sold fishing gear aimed at largemouth bass fishermen in the US. Well, your TAM here would be 30 million people, which sounds super high, but I guess a lot of people like fishing. But having an audience of 11.4 and 30 million people is just way too big to go after, which is why we also need to take a look at chart 2, a segmentation chart. It's here that you want to break your TAM down by segmenting your audience into different categories based on demographic details like their age or income or gender or occupation, their geographic details like what city or state or province or country they live in, and their all-important psychographic details like their attitudes, their values, their beliefs, and their lifestyles. But this is where things start to get tricky and can go one of two different ways, neither of which is right. The first is to not segment at all, just blasting out your marketing message to everyone. But this always results in a watered down message that's too bland and too boring to be interesting or relevant to anyone. The other way then is hyper-segmenting down to the smallest detail, like say segmenting our possible bass fishing market down to a single customer segment made up of men between the ages of 26 and 28 who like bass fishing, of course, but who are also into camping and drive Ford or Chevy trucks and play Minecraft. Now, some of these details are likely to be important, of course, like the fact that they all like camping or outdoor activities, obviously fishing, and the whole truck thing could come in handy too. But if you come across something like they enjoy Minecraft, well, it's interesting, but it may not be that relevant to your overall segmenting and targeting process. Anyway, when you go through this process, there is the possibility that it gives you a perfectly dialed in segment for your bass fishing that speaks to the exact wants and needs and desires of your ideal target market. But what's more than likely when you start to over-segment and carve up your market into too many different areas is that you never end up with enough data or information on any one segment. This means you often end up creating campaigns based on random guesses and talking about things that just don't matter to people. The solution then, and the antidote to all of this, is to find the 1, 2, or maybe 3 most common characteristics between your top customers. Build out your ideal target market from there and expand later only if you feel it's necessary. Like maybe you've determined that most of your best customers are men or women, or they all live in a certain spot, or they all have a certain activity or lifestyle or something that they're all into. Whatever it is, make sure that you've dialed that in first before adding other criteria to your segmenting list. But if you really want to dial in who your perfect customer is while at the same time boosting your business's profitability, then you're definitely going to want to avoid making this next mistake. Depending on which study or statistic you read, it's generally agreed upon that the cost of acquiring a new customer is anywhere from 5 to 25 times more expensive than retaining an existing one. And in a report by Bain & Company, they found that increasing customer retention rates by just 5% increases profits anywhere from 25 to 95%. This is why maybe the single most important marketing strategy to grow your business comes down to focusing inwards on your existing clients and customers, making serving them your absolute top priority. Now, as someone who loves growth and new and exciting and marketing and advertising and all that fun stuff, I appreciate this is a hard concept to wrap your head around. But I'm not asking you to stop marketing, just to redirect some of those marketing efforts towards your existing customers and clients, people that you already have. It's tempting to think that the secret to unlocking massive business growth is to just slam the more button and run more ads and generate more leads and try to crank up all of your marketing at the same time. When in reality, what you really need to do is take a step back, look at everything that you already have, and try to find new and innovative ways to serve the people that you already have better. Many years ago, I heard Ryan Lee talk about a concept that he called GTKT, which stands for Get Them, Keep Them. And his advice was to spend 50% of your time on getting new clients and customers, and 50% of your time working on existing relationships with the customers that you already have. A solid split considering the profit potential by just better serving the customers that are already in your world. Of course, in any business, occasionally you're going to have some bad fit customers slip through the cracks, which is what this next mistake is all about. I'm all for doing your best, trying to provide as much value as you possibly can, and doing everything in your power to make things right for your customers. But sometimes, one of the crazy ones slip through, intent on making your life as challenging and difficult as possible. Now, if you mess up, or there's some kind of miscommunication or misunderstanding on your part, then obviously do your best to fix it and make things right. But if that doesn't work, please do not be afraid to fire disaster clients or disaster customers. These are the kind of customers that take up 80% of your time and destroy your motivation, destroy your desire to even get out of bed in the morning, and will happily allow you to destroy your own business, all in the process of trying to make them happy, something that's never gonna happen, and something you're never gonna be able to do. Not so fun fact, Back in the day, before I learned how to avoid these kind of people, I used to have email phobia, where I was afraid to check my email in the morning. This is because I was terrified of what kind of hurtful or hateful email I was going to find from a client or customer that I never should have taken on in the first place. Fortunately, those days are now long gone, and I've put systems and processes in place to avoid these people like the plague and ensure that I only attract high-quality people that I really enjoy working with. So, here's how you can do it too. Now, obviously the best place to start is by avoiding taking on bad clients or customers in the first place, which you can do by being crystal clear about who you serve, how you serve them, and what they can expect along the way. And a lot of this comes down to simply acting on the previous few strategies we talked about here, like avoiding random acts of marketing and making sure that you're segmenting people based on things that actually matter. And of course, prioritizing retaining your best customers by serving them to the best of your ability. But if somehow a bad egg slips through, and sometimes they do, then here's what to do next. First, you're gonna wanna regularly make a practice of listing out and ranking all of your customers from best to worst. You can create a couple different versions of this if you like, one for profitability and one for enjoyment you get from working with them, but ideally, it's gonna be some combination of both of those things. Then use the top 20%, your absolute best customers, and the ones that you'd love to get more of in order to create an ideal customer avatar profile from. In other words, what do these top 20% of clients or customers all have in common? Are they mostly men or mostly women, mostly centered around a certain industry or market, all have a similar pain or problem that you're helping them with? This should sound familiar, as what you're doing here is segmenting your customers. The better you're able to drill down on this, the better you're going to be able to create marketing and messages that attract more people just like them. After that, take a look at your bottom 10% of customers and do everything you can to start firing them or referring them to someone else. There's an expression I heard once that I absolutely love that says, everybody deserves to be someone's best customer. So just because they're not a good fit for you doesn't mean that they can't be a good fit for someone else. But if time and time again, you constantly find yourself attracting penny pinching, tire kicking, pain in the neck customers, then it could very well be because you're making this next mistake here. One of the most valuable business lessons I ever learned was that I was responsible for training my customers and clients how to treat me, my team, and my business. If a customer sent an email at 8 p.m. on a Saturday night and I responded immediately, I was training them that I could be reached right away, anytime, anywhere. If a client made unreasonable demands that went beyond our initial agreement and we caved in, well, it trained them to keep on making crazy requests that they would then expect to be delivered. And if anyone asked for a discount and I gave it, then you can bet they were going to expect the exact same thing next time, because nobody likes paying more for something that they previously got for less. And that's what makes discounting, sales, and slashing your prices, even for promotional events, just so dangerous. Do it once, sure, it can be a useful tool to help clear out old inventory or push people who are sitting on the fence to finally take some action. But do it all the time and it'll start to become an expectation, and it'll train your customers to just wait for the next sale before buying. But don't worry, there are other things that you can do to increase sales without compromising your value or how people see you. For starters, you could simply replace the word discounts with upgrades, which take advantage of a psychological phenomenon known as exclusivity that makes people feel special. So try providing an additional product or service or benefit worth 20% more rather than offering a 20% discount. Next, don't be afraid to offer rewards, which take advantage of another psychological principle known as reciprocity. This is where people are more likely to want to give back after they've received something nice from you. Rewards can also help increase customer loyalty and retention. You can use rewards as a way of saying thank you as a kind of a bonus, or you can offer them with no requirement or stated expectation of purchase. And if you'd like to learn even more of my best marketing strategies, then you're definitely going to want to check out the video that I've got linked up right here. So make sure to tap or click that now, and I'll see you in there in just a second.